independent in thought, and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
If you listen to the media discourse outside of a few circles, they've just put collusion and conspiracy and all of those conspiracy theories they've spent the last 3 years endorsing, just flushed it down the toilet like they don't even exist and just seamlessly shifted to obstruction. And then they're conflating them to claim essentially that they were right all along. And that is really the alarming thing.
Yes, that's Glenn Greenwald right there. It's funny. So yesterday, I didn't watch Fox. I flipped around between all the channels, but I didn't want to watch Fox because I know exactly what I know what they're all going to say. I mean, it's pretty basic. Right? But to watch the hair on fire as they try to figure this out, because they so believed still in their minds, like the Adam Schiffs of the world, believe that somewhere along the line, if you dig deep enough, we just didn't go deep enough, right? We got to the point where we thought we were there, but we gave up only to find out that the diamond mine and the gold vein was just right past there. But somewhere along the line, our shovel broke and we just, that's all that happened. We just didn't get, Mueller didn't have the shovel to get us there if we'd have just gone. But don't worry though, because along the way, other things happen that shows the criminality. That does. That shows the criminality. Now, I read a bunch of it yesterday. One of the things I found to be rather interesting, essentially what I came away with all of this is Don Jr. was stupid, basically. This Mueller just looked at him and said, yeah, he's an idiot. he's not conspiring with the Russians. He's just kind of getting duped. Right? It looks like they really wanted to get to Jared, right? Not the subway guy. He's easy to find. But Jared, and Jared's like, not interested. I'm not. But the media is doing everything they can. The 24/7 coverage of this, like as if anything else didn't happen yesterday. Like the 24/7 breaking news is just, if your TV went black right now, it would still have that breaking news symbol across, because everything is breaking news when it comes to this. We've read something else and this is what it says. The media, I think at times even more so than the politicians, wanted it so to be something so devastating in there. But Chad, look at all the obstruction of justice. Look, I understand what Bill Barr was saying yesterday. He was frustrated, right? He doesn't get it. The rules, the things, being frustrated and saying stuff, right? People say, could you imagine if you got hired for something, right? You go and you risk everything. You get hired for something, you win something, you do something, and the entire time they're threatening to take it away, even though you haven't done anything wrong, and you're pleading, and God, if I could only just get rid of this, and you say stuff. The reality is he could have fired along the way. He could have done a lot of different things. Well, we can't do that, so we're not going to do that. Don McCann saved his ass, but did he really take any of this stuff serious? Did he? We need to fire them. You can't do that. All right. Not for that reason. Again, if you want to get rid of him because you don't like his, the color of his belt or his, how he wears his hair, okay, but, for that reason alone, you can't do it. But he didn't. But the media, goodness me, Trump he's done something to him.
I think that in a lot of ways, Donald Trump broke the brains of a lot of people, particularly people in the media who believe that telling lies, inventing conspiracy theories, being journalistically reckless, it's all justified to stop this unparalleled menace. And that's a good thing for an activist to think and a really bad thing for a journalist to think.
Yeah. And well, because journalism and Glenn Greenwald is probably not a huge fan of the president. He's critical of all politicians, the left and the right. Right, which I think is good. You have to be, if you're going to be honest, neither side has a monopoly on good or bad ideas. You've got to be honest. I get it all the time. I don't like your show because you've defended the president here, or I don't like your show because you've said something critical of the president. Well, that's what honesty looks like. That's what it looks like. I'm going to give you the good and the bad. I'm going to be critical of both. Doesn't mean I don't want the president to succeed, whoever he or she is, what other party they're involved with. But you need to be able to be critical. But the more I look at the media, the more I just realize, good God, they want it maybe even more so than the Democrats do. They wanted this because, let's be real, think of this as a television show. Think of this thing here as a TV show. And your star is Donald Trump. So there's Trump. He's the star of your show. So there he is doing his thing. You do realize that your whole goal, especially in something like this, is you want to get what? You want them to pick up another season. You want them to pick up another season. So you've sold everything you possibly could, but somewhere along the line, did you go jump the shark? Touch on it really quickly. Hollywood, jump the shark. What does it mean? Happy Days was the #1 show on television. Fonzie jumped the shark when they went out to Los Angeles. After that, they never, ever achieved any of the heights that they once were at with Happy Days. Jump the shark. And because of the whole build-up for 2 years, conspiracy, Russia, 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 conspiracy, Russia, 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 conspiracy, Russia, 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 everybody believes it. They talked about it 24/7. They have everybody on. This is it. Impeachment, the whole 9 yards. Then the Mueller report comes out, and there's no conspiracy, no Russia, no Americans conspired, worked with at all, trying to overthrow the election or do any of those things. And because of that, you jump the shark. And you've seen the ratings tumble because people are, A, sick and tired of hearing about it because it seems to be the same joke over and over again and the same storyline. And B, it wasn't true. So your credibility's, and now you're seen as somebody who's just angry and bitter. Yeah.
The conclusion, no criminal conspiracy, but the report also details dozens, hundreds of contacts with lots of Trump officials and many attempts, even attempts to try to get Hillary Clinton's email. But they said even those contacts didn't rise to the level of a criminal conspiracy. The Trump associates did not knowingly break the law.
Not knowingly. Big there. All day yesterday, I heard from the left side of the aisle as well as the media. Well, this wasn't big enough. This wasn't thorough enough. We needed more. This didn't do the thing that it didn't get to the point and rise to the level where Mueller should have gone with this.
No one can question that Robert Mueller was thorough. I think he's going to face some pretty tough questions why he didn't reach a final decision and how he handles those questions before the Congress, assuming he does indeed testify, I think will determine whether the congressional inquiries actually gain momentum.
Yeah, of course they will. Because for the Democrats, for several of them, it's a great way to raise money, right? You've got your demon that you're fighting against, your monster, which is Trump, right? So you've got those things. It's a way to keep your eye on the prize, which is eventually doing all you can to limit this president from getting anything done, because that's what both sides have become now. It's not about the people. It's about the party. It's about, is your team in control? And so what do you have to do? Well, limit him as much as possible, because if he was able to get some stuff done and it looked like some of that stuff was going to work, the chances of you winning a re-election would start to diminish even more than just the economy doing well. So boom. What are you going to do? You're going to investigate the hell out of it. You're going to find everything you possibly can to find whatever dirty laundry this person has. And you're going to continue to go out there and search for it. You're going to hunt for it. You're going to look every single place you could possibly look, no matter where it is, no matter what's happened, no matter who's had it. You better find it. Investigate the investigators. And then when you're done, investigate those investigators. And when then that's done, you talk about collusion in a different way. You talk about campaign finance. You talk about obstruction. You try to continue to milk the cow, to continue to get the eggs from the golden goose. Do all of the things you possibly can. But what are we getting out of it? Right? Do you honestly think that Adam Schiff is doing this for the betterment of the American people? Nadler, right? Swalwell. Do you think they're doing this for the betterment of the American people, or do you think they're doing it for the betterment of themselves and, yes, their party? Ask yourself that question. I think it's pretty simple. They're doing it for themselves. They're doing it for their party. They're doing it for their team. They are. And if they, and think about this, Trump gets reelected. We could face another 6 years of impeachment talk, another 6 years of muddling, another 6 years of investigation after investigation, another 6 years of not getting things done that need to get done, and not hearing about some things that did get done that would have been nice for the American people to know. But quite frankly, we won't hear about it because we're too busy dragging people on the Hill and sitting there and asking them questions about stuff that you've empowered them to do, and they did it, but you didn't like the way they did it because they didn't give you the response you wanted. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Tell you what, it's Good Friday. I was reading a story today. I thought of you, Phil, because I know you're a little bit of a connoisseur of stuff. Guy in Ohio decided, we joked about it. His name is Del Hall. He was going to drink only beer for Lent. So that's all he did. And he didn't get hammered. He's a beer guy. He works for he's a big distributor. He was a director and a marketing guy for a huge micro craft. So this is what the guy does for a living. He goes, I'm going to try it. He's a 43-year-old Army vet. He drank beer for Lent. 40 days. 40 days he drank beer. But he would have 2 to 5 a day throughout the day. Didn't get drunk. None of that. I didn't get drunk, not once. None of these things. He lost 40 plus pounds. He says he needs little sleep. His mind is clear, no inflammation in his body, and he feels like he's 23 and not 43. All from beer. And the picture is pretty amazing when you see him. He's dropped some. And he said, I had to be around food because he's got a daughter. I had to make her food. I had to go to the grocery store and do those kind of things. So, goodness me. It makes you think, though, right? And I'm telling you, that inflammation thing is real. All the processed sugar and all that stuff we eat, that is so real. It is. Oh, I don't drink beer, so I guess I would have to do... What could I do? Because there's no calories in iced tea. At least there's calories in beer. I don't know. I could do a liquid... Could you do a liquid diet? Phil, you're a foodie. Could you do a liquid diet for, like, a week?
I don't think I could.
Yeah, you're a foodie, man. That's tough. Like you guys understand. Phil loves Phil. If Phil's got his channel where he cooks and does all what's on Phil's grill and stuff like that. But you were telling me that you talked to your sister, the sister today, because you wanted to make sure that both kitchens were open because you're preparing this weekend.
I'm cooking for 31 people.
Yeah, and you're loving it. You're loving it.
I am.
I love that you love it. I could try it. I could try it for I could do a week, I think. I could. Not today. I can't start today because I already have done it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Happy Good Friday to you. Of course, Easter is on Sunday. We'll have Easter facts throughout the day that I think you'll find enjoyable and enlightening. Hey, when it comes to costly repairs, trust me, the last thing you want to do is have to dole out a bunch of money when it comes to your car. Carshield.com. Use my code Benson. Check out all the plans they have. 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. You choose the shop. They get it taken care of directly. You pay a small deductible. Let me tell you something. I drive a lot. How much? This week, by the time Sunday rolls around, I will have driven probably close to 2,000 miles this week. But I don't worry because CarShield has my back. Save yourself thousands of future car repairs. Get covered by the ultimate in extended vehicle protection. Get CarShield. Call 800-CAR 6000, mention code Benson, or visit carshield.com, carshield.com. Use my code Benson. That saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Plea deal this.
Mueller, arrest me.
Chad will trade you 2 perjury charges for 1 collusion and throw in a reduced charge of obstruction for free.
Yeah, I'd do that.
For just listening to The Chad Benson Show.
Easter, that's a weird tradition. Easter, the day Jesus rose from the dead. What should we do? How about eggs? Well, what does that have to do with Jesus? All right, we'll hide them. I don't follow your logic. Don't worry, there's a bunny.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Speaking of Easter, we spent a lot of money on Easter. $3.3 billion will be spent on clothes, pastels. I do not look good in pastels. $5.7 billion will be spent on food, and that's just to feed Phil's family, because Phil will be cooking the entire time. It's a lot. $2.5 billion alone goes towards chocolate. And those bunnies. You ever bitten into one of those bunnies and you thought they were hollow and they weren't? You're like, ah! And you ever bit one of those bunnies that just totally fall apart? Oh, that's good. $2.9 billion on gifts, because when I was a kid, you maybe got a chocolate bunny and you go look for eggs, and maybe your grandma would put a couple quarters inside of, some of those plastic eggs and stuff. But the rest of it was there. You didn't get anything else. Nowadays, it's just, oh, geez, what presents are we going to get? I'm like, really? Really? Yeah. So let's put it in perspective. The average person celebrates Easter. So the average person who celebrates it this weekend is going to spend, on average, $151. 91 million chocolate bunnies are sold. 16 billion Jelly Bellies are eaten. And 81% of us adults will be looting the kids' candy stash. And if you want to know what do you bite first when it comes to the chocolate rabbit, almost 60% of us bite them their ears. What? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson, choose your Twitter. Impeach Trump. Some people are talking. Who are these there people who are saying things? We'll touch on that. A lot of stuff to get to, including something we didn't have a chance to get to earlier. Michelle Obama and fathers. Talk about that. Kind of just went weird, to say the least. Text the program. Hope you're doing well. It is the Good Friday edition of the Good Friday Edition Chat Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Here comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity hoppity, Easter's on its way.
It is. Easter's not too far away. That there, Easter kids. We were talking about Easter and we're talking about traditions off the air. And you know what? When I was a kid, I just remember going out and, getting those little plastic eggs, and they would have, jelly. Oh, this one's got jelly beans, but this one over here is like 50 cents. You're like, oh my God. And nowadays, kids expect so much. And some of you are texting in, oh yeah, I remember that. Get a penny or get a dime or whatever mom, dad, and grandpa had laying around and putting those plastic things. Here's some lint. Oh, you're going to like that. It's a cigarette butt. Enjoy it. Oh, my Lord. Now, Phil, your tradition is cooking, right? Now, have you always been the cook?
I have not always been the cook. I kind of dated a few women back in my early 20s that got me really into cooking, and it's just sort of blossomed as I've become a man of my advanced years.
Yes, of the advanced years. For those of you guys who don't know, you can check out what's Phil grilling? Is that what your the YouTube
What's
stuff
Phil
is?
grilling tonight on YouTube?
Yeah, you check it out because he grills. He's a grilling mofo. I'll tell you that right now. I'll tell you that. I'm going to be heading out to Yuma. And from Yuma tonight, I'll be there. And then I go to San Diego tomorrow. And Jack and I have big plans for our Easter. That includes a little egg hunt on Sunday morning and then back out here. But, yeah, tradition. That's kind of our tradition every year. Is we spend it in that's our holiday tradition anymore with me because Jack's in San Diego. I'm not. And I travel a lot on the holidays. But it's... I do like Easter. I just like the candies. I like the Reese's. like a Christmas, they got the Christmas tree, and this year they got the egg or the bunny rabbit. I love that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. If you've got any kind of sweet Easter traditions, let us know. You can tweet at us. You can text the program as well. Easter tradition, not so much, but a tradition nonetheless when it comes to Democratic politics right now in the Trump.
This president deserves to be impeached, but since I'm not in Congress, I'm focused on replacing him the old-fashioned way.
Mayor Pete, not Peter Cottontail, Peter Buttigieg. I feel like he'll be always Mayor Pete. I think that's going to hurt him. I do. I think in a weird way, of all the things, it's not gay, right? It's none of those things. You know what's going to hurt him the most? Calling him Mayor Pete. It makes him seem like you're not there. You're the mayor. You're Mayor Pete. Also today, Liawatha, she also is calling for him to be impeached. She sent out smoke signals about 2 hours ago and then said, whoa, 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 which of course means impeach him. Don't think it's going to happen. I think cooler, calmer heads are going to prevail, and I think the reason for that is in the world of Democratic politics, you've got the powers that want certain things and the powers who will be running things because they understand that it's not just about screaming and yelling, it's about doing. And the reality is if you overstep your boundaries, people will remember that. We like to keep everybody in check. Politicians are the ones we feel we can kind of check every once in a great while. And I think if you overstep in this day and age, right now especially, because like the Mueller investigation has really gotten to the point where it's exhausted a lot of people who are sick and tired of hearing about it, want to see other things done. And if you spend the Democrats, if you were to ask me the last 2 years, what has been the Democratic platform? If you were to say, what is the platform for them moving forward? Well, they have nice platitudes. What have they done to work towards any of it? None. Oh, we're going to save health care. Well, you guys ruined it, so figure out how you could save it. We're going to, we're just basically, our whole goal is to just defeat Trump. That's not something that you can build on. Not right now. Not. You better figure something out. Michelle Obama, out the other day, doing her thing. I want to talk about it earlier in the week, but obviously, I was gone for a little bit. I hand out Yuma, doing all these kind of things. And I wanted to touch on this because it's just, it's very interesting what she said about families.
When Michelle Obama aimed a zinger at President Trump the other day, it ricocheted back and nicked the former First Lady. She was on her book tour, being interviewed by Stephen Colbert when she compared the American people to a broken family.
We're a teenager. Sometimes you spend weekends with divorced dad, and that feels like it's fun, but then you get sick. That's what America's going through. We're kind of living with divorced dad right now.
Oh, so something's wrong with dad, right? Well, wait a minute here. I'm that. Slow your roll there, Skippy. All right, for a second. And this is part of this whole, and how many times have I talked about the fact that dads have been demeaned, and some of it we've done to ourselves, but we've been so, over the last umpteen years, have been told how basically you are useless, right? You are just, and if you want to see the decline of a lot of areas, you want to see the decline of a lot of situations in this country, you can point back to the disintegration of the family unit in a lot of places. You can. Now, nobody want to talk about that because if you even bring something up, dad not being around, it makes it seem like mom is not good enough, which is a bunch of crap. We all know that, but we have to have this PC walk here where we have to dangle and tiptoe and just because we don't want to make. It's not demeaning somebody. It's being honest. 2's better than 1. Having dad around is better than not having dad around.
Some thought comparing President Trump to a divorced dad was hitting the nail on the head. But guess who's mad now at Michelle Obama? I'm a divorced dad, and I think I do a pretty good job. Now I'm compared to Trump. And from another divorced dad who loves his kids and is every bit of a good parent as divorced mom, I generally don't like Trump and did like you, but you've shown that you can say just as rude and insensitive comments as Trump.
Yeah, absolutely. I get you were trying to do something, but if you would have said that about a woman, right? Like if you would have said that about a woman, if you would have said, oh, it's like spending time with divorced mom. Oh, you got hammered for that. You would have. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. I will tell you, I'm a hell of a dad. That's it. Say it all the time. Continue to say it. I will never do anything more important than being a dad. Everything else is pales in comparison. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Socialism is coming, kids. Get ready for it. You can't stop it. It is coming. Why? Because we always will have more have-nots than haves. And even though most of those have-nots, as because you want to break it up into classes, right? Like you're the have-nots, when really you're just everyday average working American person who's going through the motions and trying to do something and fighting an uphill battle. That's the way they can perceive it. It's a fighting an uphill battle. It's all of these things. Well, you know what? You need a place where you can go and you can watch television to get an understanding of what it is to be part of the socialist world. And thank God they've got a brand new place for that. A Detroit couple has put it together. It's like a Netflix streaming service. And if it's socialism, you figure it would be free, but it's not.
So Means TV is the world's first anti-capitalist subscription-based streaming service. So basically we talk about it like a Netflix for working class people. Instead of billionaires and millionaires, people in Hollywood running our entertainment, what if we made our own entertainment?
So Means TV will have everything from episodic content to animated series to documentaries to movies, everything that you'd expect on a Netflix or a Hulu. Same kind of formats will be on Means TV.
Yeah, so it's Means TV, right? Same kind of thing that you'd see anywhere else, except for it's going to be socialist. It's going to be built for just... So if you make $1 million, you're worth $1 million. You cannot watch this, apparently. Now, this was part of the trailer. They got this trailer on their website and on their Twitter and stuff, and it is just so it's just awful.
The teachers always say life is not going to be fair.
You only really have like so many options. You can go to the factory, you can go to the college, or you can go to the army.
What do I have to do so I can get into a position to where I can chase what I want to chase versus surviving?
So we just get a very small hourly rate. It's like $3 an hour. And then the rest is just tips that we rely on.
Dumbasses. They're voting. They're going to cancel out your vote. They're going to cancel out your vote. It's not over, though. It's not. But you listen to that right there, right? So it's just super Debbie Downers. Like, who did this? I did. So there's only a few options. Like, you could go to college. Okay, that's an option. Right? You can go in the army or military. Well, that's an option, too. You get a job. It's an option. You know, you could do something. Again, options. You're giving us options here. When do I get to do what I want to do? Teachers say life's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. Not fair. Life is not fair. Right? Some people want to be tall, they're short. Some people want to be shorter, they're tall. Some people want to look like Brad Pitt, and they never will. No matter how good they eat, no matter how much they work out, it's just never going to happen. Some people have amazing skills and talent. Other people are just run-of-the-mill, everyday, average cogs in the wheel. That has nothing to do at all with your lot in life. Meaning you're bored. There's nothing changing the way you are, right? Brad Pitt's not going to take a bit of his talent and a bit of his looks and hand it over to you and hand it out across the bush. It's not going to happen. Life's not fair. Sometimes people struggle. They don't have the mental capability. They're not special. They just have the mental capability to do certain things. They don't have the will or drive to do certain things. But you listen to them whine, bitch, and moan, and that should be called whiny TV.
My mom actually told me, like, moving to America just, like, made everything worse.
Yeah, in America, I feel like money is...
By the way, you can leave then. Much like people who want to say that we should pay more taxes, you know? There's that thing where you can pay more taxes. Feel free to pay more taxes. If your life feels worse after you move to America, there are hundreds and thousands of millions of people trying to get in here, some of them trying to actually do it legally. They will gladly take your dumbass place.
My mom actually told me, like, moving to America just, like, made everything worse.
Yeah, in America, I feel like money is always the problem and the solution at the same time.
People seem to be just doing worse and worse, and nobody really seems to be able to do anything about it.
You know, why do our parents work all the time and then it's still hard for us? There's definitely, like, a system in place that keeps us there.
Yeah, it's called your attitude. That's the system. You have a piss-poor ass attitude. Piss-poor ass attitude. There's a system in place that keeps us down. Like this magical system, this like force field. Ooh, Sector 3, Detroit. Quick, ramp it up. Ooh, good, keep them down. God, dumbasses. 323-538-2423. Will I work for $3 an hour? And then tips. And then we got to work harder for tips. Okay, well, I'll give you $10 an hour, but you don't get tips. But I'm making $22 an hour. But what's the underlying common denominator when you listen to this? Whiny, bitchy, moany people that are victims, and that's all they're ever going to be. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at me. That wasn't very Easter-like, was it, Chad? Nope. It wasn't Easter-like. Hey, when it comes to costly car repairs, you've got options. One of them is to pay a bunch to get your car fixed. Another one is to cry and then hope your car gets fixed. Then there's the other option where you can go buy a new car. Or get Car Shield. Makes everything easier. 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. And the shop is the shop that you choose. Right? Not the shop they choose. You pay a small deductible, they get them paid. You have a smile on your face. What are you waiting for? Do what I did. Make the switch to Car Shield. Call 800-CAR-6000. Mention code Benson or visit carshield.com. Carshield.com. Use code Benson. Saves you 10% right there. Carshield.com. Code Benson. A deductible may apply. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Deep states? No. Deep doo-doo? Yeah. The Chad Benson Show.
On April 19th, 1993, nearly 100 members of a religious cult died at the end of a 51-day standoff with federal agents when their compound burned to the ground. Enraged by that, 26-year-old Timothy McVeigh blew up the Oklahoma City Federal Building on April 19th, 1995. Now, 24 years later,
Ethel L. Griffin.
The names of the bombing victims are read. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt.
This city and our great state has experienced restoration and renewal.
The annual ceremony at the site of the bombing.
Yeah, wow. And tomorrow is the 20th anniversary of Columbine. Man, it's just a lot of things this week. It's supposed to be Holy Week. Just when you think about that. I don't think people realize, because they knew what happened in Waco, right? But they didn't understand that because of what took place in Waco was the catalyst in a lot of ways of the anti-government kookiness of Timothy McVeigh, along with all the other things. And I don't think people always put together and connect the dots of those two. I remember watching both of them. You know, I was home in America at the time when the Branch Davidians and all that went down. And I remember exactly where I was. I was at Talk Radio UK in London, and it just started to come across. And they said, Chad, have you seen what took place in Oklahoma City? And I said, no. I said, I just got here. I said, check it out. And this is obviously long before we had all the things that we have nowadays in instantaneousness, and it was like, whoa. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. We were talking about dads earlier because Michelle Obama tried to do something, compare President Trump to, in America to Trump right now, that divorced dad who you spend a little time with on the weekends and then you get sick. And it didn't go well, and nor should it have, because it was kind of a swipe at dads. And, as a dad, I look at that, and I shake my head, and I said, I'm a dad, and I'm a damn good dad, and let's look around and find out how much better it is without dads. Because I think a lot of people out there, they think it's just a wonderful thing. Oh, you don't need men, don't need dads. And Chris Rock, we tried to edit it out. We could do it, but he said just because you can't you can have a baby without a dad, but it doesn't make a good idea. You can also drive your car with your knees. Again, doesn't make it a good idea. Frustrating. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. It's your Twitter and your Instagram. Apparently Instagram's trying to put a like category in now. It's a big deal when they do something like that. You would think it would just be like, let's put a button right here. Apparently it's not. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The special counsel investigated a number of links or contacts between the Trump campaign officials and individuals connected with the Russian government during the 2016 presidential campaign. After reviewing these contacts, the special counsel did not find any conspiracy to violate U.S. law involving Russian-linked persons and any persons associated with the Trump campaign.
There you go, Bill Barr. William Barr to you guys. I call him Bill. Perry Mason lookalike. Started his press conference, let it all out. Why did he have a presser? I don't know. I think he wanted to get it all out there. And he did, kind of. I don't know. But you have to go look through. It's redacted. Everybody wants, I want to look at the unredacted version. I want to look at the unredacted version. Well, some of you are going to get to look at stuff that is for your eyes only, and that's going to be a very few, and everybody else is going to have to settle for this, and then everybody goes to their corners and they spin it. I have MSNBC on here today. I rotate through. I'm not going to lie to you. Sometimes I have the Golf Channel on and TV Land when Gunsmoke's on. But all day today I've had MSNBC and CNN see how it spins, and it's just been spin after spin after spin because it makes for good theater. But does it change anything? Is healthcare any cheaper today? I checked. It's not. I didn't get a Mueller card where I could go to the gas station and swipe it, and it tells me, hey, are you part of the Mueller VIP club? And you're like, yeah. And you type in your code, and then all of a sudden you get, 25 cents off a gallon of gas. None of that stuff happened. None of it. What we have here is he didn't collude. He didn't conspire. He was frustrated, which I think if you're an honest person, you go, yeah, he seems like a guy that's kind of a hothead and gets frustrated based on all the things we've ever seen. But did some of the stuff you do rise to obstruction of justice? But if you don't have a crime, what are you obstructing? Can I really prove it? Even in a court of law, take away the Senate and any of these kind of things. Could I prove it in a court of law? Probably not. So, but still, there's news to be made.
After finding no underlying collusion with Russia, the special counsel's report goes on to consider whether certain actions of the president could amount to obstruction. The report recounts 10 episodes involving the president. After carefully reviewing the facts and legal theories outlined in the report, the Deputy Attorney General and I concluded that the evidence developed by the special counsel is not sufficient to establish that the president committed an obstruction of justice offense.
So, but there was 10 of them. Some of them had to be obstruction of justice. Well, the Mueller report was allowed to go through with all of the things that it needed. Right? There were situations where you could tell he was really pissed. He was angry. He was upset. In fact, one of the things that they talk about is just how absolutely angry he was once this thing came out because of the potential end of his reign.
Oh, my God, this is terrible. This is the end of my presidency. According to the report, that's what President Trump said when he found out a special counsel had been appointed. How could you let this happen, Jeff? You were supposed to protect me, he asked of then Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who the president had considered his most important appointment. The report says the president went on to say, everyone tells me if you get one of these independent counsels, it ruins your presidency. It takes years and I won't be able to do anything. This is the worst thing that ever happened to me.
Could that be a frustration? Yes. Absolutely, it could be a frustration thing. You're not even president yet. They're already talking about how you stole an election and the Russians helped you. You've got a dossier that has been torn apart by everybody that I would still like to find out how that became the thing that we decided to look into. Yeah, I could see the frustration. In saying that, can you prove? It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. Can you prove in his mind? Because I heard, man, he's going to fire Mueller. He's going to do all of these things. He's going to get rid of all of these people. He's going to obstruct. He's going to tell his people to lie left, right, and center. He's instructed his people to fire, but nobody did any of those things. And maybe to the benefit of him, protected his ass by not doing some of those things. But you've got to get inside somebody's mind. And you're not going to be able to do it. So what now? I mean, that's going to be the biggest question moving forward. What now? Well, what now is going to be the giant battle of where we go from here if you're the Democrats, if you're Adam Schiff.
Whether the obstruction of justice was criminal or not, or whether these contacts were sufficiently illicit or not to rise the level of a criminal conspiracy, they are unquestionably dishonest, unethical, immoral, and unpatriotic and should be condemned by every American.
Yeah, but he also didn't collude. Nobody inside of his staff colluded. The Russians reached out. They didn't do anything. So what do you say at that point in time? We should be happy about that, right? I think we should be happy. I feel good about it. If he would have, in some way, shape, or form, conspired, then he should have damn well been gone. But at some point in time, you just step back and you say, okay, now what? Right? You can call it unpatriotic. Let me Chad-splain it for you. He didn't ask for any help, but he laughed about it and was totally fine that the Russians were doing what they're doing. He didn't seek out anything. Obama knew what was going on at the time. It came back and bit Trump in the ass, but he wasn't searching for it. So you have to ask yourself the question, okay, so if that, and then he had to obstruct. Well, if there was no crime, how do you obstruct something that's not a crime? Right? It's, it'd be like saying, hey, man, my wife's going to call, tell her I was with you last night. Well, where were you? I went to my mom's house and she made me dinner and I just wanted to hang out with my mom and dad. But I don't want to tell her that. It's like, is that really a crime? Yeah, are you sure you weren't cheating? No, I wasn't. I was hanging out. You can ask my mom and dad. Blah, blah, blah. It's just so, it's kind of ridiculous. But here we are. All the while this is going on, immigration issues at the border. Yesterday, El Paso set a record. You've got healthcare costs rising. Even if wages are rising, healthcare costs is rising to the point where it's outpacing anything that's happening there. Where's it going to be in the future? You've got no hope in the near future that they're going to deal with that in any real way. We have the right to ask questions about what are you guys going to do now? Are you going to spend, Democrats, are you going to spend the next 500 plus days until the next election just investigation after investigation after investigation because you want them gone? That is your number one thing. Your sole goal is to eliminate this president and get him out of there. That is your sole goal. All the while, people are like, maybe I'd like you to focus on some other stuff. Because you're not going to get him gone. You're going to have to vote him out. And by that, I mean the ballot. You don't have enough to impeach him. Even if you try, you don't have the Senate, so you're not going to get the votes. So it would just be going through the motions. And at some point in time, it's going to backfire on you. So you have to ask your question, what are you going to do? If I were you, I'd be working for the American people. That's you, that's me, that's everybody. Coming up with some solutions to some of the problems out there. And they're not going to be perfect, but they need to be dealt with. But you're not going to. And I continue to ask everybody this question. I'll ask you guys. You can text me. You can tweet at me at Chad Benson Show. Or you can text me directly, 323-538-CHAD. 323-538-2423. Had Hillary won with this investigation had gone on, I think we could be honest. No, it wouldn't have. It wouldn't have. They would still look into what the Russians were doing. Because it needs to be looked into. We need to figure out what's going on. We still need to combat this because it's still happening right now. And Russia's not doing it just to us. They're doing it to as many people as they possibly can. It's not just to us because we're doing it to them. Cyber warfare is real. These kind of things are real. Social media is just giving them another battleground. But it's also given us one. Obama knew what was going on. We all knew that. But would this have gone on? Had she won, would it have gone on? Would it have risen to the level where they went out, appointed special investigators at that time to go out and to tear everything apart? I don't think so. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe I'm right. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. I travel a lot. Drives me crazy sometimes. I don't mind it all the time, but after a while I get sick and tired because I'm never home and I love my animals. And they get taken care of better than anything out there. I mean, it's incredible. But I miss my cat 3 because he's awesome. I was talking yesterday to a congressperson. It's like, hey, that pretty litter stuff, we ordered it. My wife ordered it. I said, it's awesome. Gonna love it. This will really work. I said, it works amazing. Comes in these little bags. Right? Each bag's going to last you forever. And they're so small you can hold them with your 2 fingers. You're going to be surprised how long they last. You're not going to smell anything. It's incredible. And like, no way. I said, yeah. And said, how many cats do you have? And I said, I was naming my cats. And I said, I have cat 3. They're like, oh, you have 3 cats? I said, no, one of my cats named 3. Told them the story of 3. Man, but I tell you what, I love my animals. That's why I take care of them. And Pretty Litter's one of them. First of all, it's great that I don't have to smell any of the thing they do when they do their business. Secondly, Pretty Litter is so advanced that it will actually change colors. If there's a health problem, you can detect that just from the litter. That's how amazing it is. That way you get the cat straight into the vet, check it out, potentially saving you money, stress, and potentially your cat's life. Do what I did. Make the switch to Pretty Litter. You're going to get 20% off your first order. Go to prettylitter.com. Prettylitter.com. Use promo code Chad. Prettylitter.com. Promo code Chad. Prettylitter.com. Promo code Chad. Okay, kids. The Olympics aren't too far off, and another group is making a pitch for a sport to get in there. Pour some sugar on it. Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
The baristas of Mighty Good Coffee in Ann Arbor formed a union after a racial discrimination lawsuit was filed against the company over the treatment of an employee. That employee has since left after settling with the company. The newly unionized baristas say they were in contract negotiations when they got layoff notices.
The management gets to walk away with the money that they made in their successful business, and we walk away with no jobs and no fair contract that we've been working for.
In a letter, the company explains they're closing the 4 shops because the owners felt the experience of running a business was overly stressful.
Yeah, that's what not management, but owners get to do. Owners get to go, I've had enough. I don't want to do it anymore. This is why robots and automation is going to play a huge part, especially in small business, where you don't have to deal with, if you had one or two people, that you trust that you can work with there, right? One or two people. So you work with one or two people that you could trust. And everybody else that's going to cause you headaches, which are other employees. Ask anybody who's an employee and or has employees. They'll tell you. What do you end up doing then? You have automation, and automation takes care of a lot of this stuff. Well, they got to take all their money and go Scrooge McDuck and put it inside their giant, huge vault and then dive into it. It's not the way it works. I get why people don't want to do stuff. I don't like, I have a few businesses and I work with a select few people, but otherwise I don't want employees. I don't. Because it's a pain in the ass. It really is. And what we do is a lot of contract, independent, far away people that we don't work outside of that because I just don't want the headache. And it's for a lot of people like, really? No. For some people it's fine, but I'll pass on that, kids. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Kids, get ready for the Olympics. It's coming soon. And guys, instead of gold medals, how about shameful dollar bills with glitter on it?
Well, if this won't get the seats filled at the next Olympics, I don't know what will. The International Pole Sports Federation has demanded to the Olympic Committee that they recognize pole dancing as a sport, a real sport.
Do you see pole dancing in the Olympics in the future?
Honestly, I think that would be amazing. Whether it gets there, it's a matter of time. So the best thing is to get out there and try it. Doesn't matter what your starting level is. Anybody can do it.
Anybody can do it. And it's exhausting. We were all talking about it. I mean, if you, and they have these pole dancing classes where you can go like spin classes and stuff. And I'm sure it's absolutely exhausting. Right? But come on. Would it be kind of cool? We're talking about putting breakdancing in. So why would we stop here? Huh?
Someone as physically fit and capable as Jennifer Lopez has said that this is one of the hardest things she's ever had to learn in her career.
When people tell you, oh, so you do pole dancing? How do you respond to that?
There's definitely a stigma that people have, and I just explained to them that it's one of the best forms of fitness I've ever experienced.
Yeah, it's going to be funny. Instead of dancing for the United States of America, it's like dancing for Mr. Cha-Cha's. Put your hands together for Amber Rains. Oh, my goodness. I like it. We need to laugh a little bit today. DJs in the background. People eating cheap burgers while they watch it. I'm good with that. 323-538-2423. Speaking of that, 70% of men do not get checked for erectile dysfunction. And ED is something that you don't have to be ashamed of, guys. And let's be real. We don't like to go talk about stuff like this. Our ego takes a hit. Roman has come up with the best, easiest way to deal with that. Go to GetRoman.com/Benson. You can have a free online visit. In fact, you can see a U.S. physician. You can actually get medicine directly sent to your door in unmarked packaging. It is simple and easy. You fill out a dynamic online visit. You sit there and you talk to a doctor. Everything is done online. And then you get prescribed. It comes directly to you. No hassle, no craziness, no walking in and sitting in the waiting room and doing any of this stuff. It is that easy right now. Free online visit. It is for you. Go to GetRoman.com/Benson. 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 At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Talk a little pizza in a little bit. Guy eats a lot of pizza. And I started thinking, how many pieces do I eat a year? For that, though, Doug Schoen is going to join us, former Fox political analyst, former Clinton advisor. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Collapse! It's a new book, A World in Crisis, the urgency of American leadership. Joining us now is the author, Doug Schoen. He's a former Fox News contributor and former consultant there, and worked an advisor with old Bill Clinton and Bloomberg. And I appreciate you coming on today. Collapse indeed. We have a world in crisis. If you just watch the news, Doug, it looks like the whole world is falling apart. But you and I both know better than that.
Well, I don't think it's falling apart, but it's certainly heading in the wrong direction. And what, to me, as a moderate to conservative Democrat, is missing is the crucial variable of strong and assertive American leadership.
You talk about you're a moderate Democrat. The reality is AOC, she grabs all the headlines, right? And I spent a couple days, I spent 24 hours with several Republican congressmen down at the border the other day. AOC grabs the headline, and I've talked to several other, people like you who are Democratic pundits and people that are out there working it. The fact is, she grabs the headline, but in this last blue wave that came through, the majority of them were much like you, moderate Democrats, maybe even had some red ideas in their head, but they were still Democrats voting wise. Yet the what grabs the headlines is none of that. And I don't think people really understand that.
No, I don't, because AOC is great copy. Representative Omar, even better. And look, the president's strategy, which on one level is a shrewd one, is to make them the literal face of the Democratic Party and campaign against them. So that's where the media is going to go. And people lose the fact that there are a heck of a lot of moderates in swing districts that swung the Congress.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking to Doug Schoen, former Fox political analyst and an advisor to Bill Clinton and Mr. Bloomberg there, and an author as well. His new book's called Collapse, A World in Crisis and the Urgency of American Leadership. Do we, America, I mean, we've always been that beacon of hope around the world. When you decided to write this book, you've been around the world. You've worked with a lot of different governments and people around there. Do you feel like that we're sliding away from that beacon of hope and other countries are trying to put themselves in that position?
Absolutely. I mean, I see us not asserting the primacy of our position, the urgency of freedom, liberty, democracy, as the authoritarians led by Russia and China and rogue nations, Venezuela, Iran, North Korea, are on the ascendancy. It's scary, very scary.
Very, very scary. So what do we do? I mean, obviously you're probably not a Trump fan, and we'll touch on that in a little bit as he gets ready to, as he's running for re-election and all the people that are jumping in there. But what do we do? Because Trump, in a lot of ways, he's, I don't want to say he's a complete isolationist, but definitely pulling back from what we were. Because I'll say this, I don't want a nation build anymore, in particular through our military. I see too much money being wasted. I don't want to give up on our friends and allies. That's not something we should do. But there's got to be a happy medium somewhere in there.
Well, that's what I'm arguing for. I'm arguing that we're pulling back too much, and we've got to be more assertive. I mean, I just think, the Russians go to Venezuela, they go to Syria, and to be fair, it's not just Donald Trump. God knows Barack Obama, and the Democrats deserve more than their fair share of blame. But I just think as a nation, we need to stand up for, I think, principles most of us would agree are superior. Our commitment to freedom and liberty beats authoritarianism any time. And most people around the world, no matter how sophisticated or unsophisticated, understand that to their core.
Absolutely. The book's called Collapse, A World in Crisis and the Urgency of American Leadership. The author's joining us, Doug Schoen. Trump is going to face who knows who. Right now, it looks like Bernie is definitely in the lead. And he, I don't know if it's continuing momentum. I'm surprised that he's doing as well as he's doing because I thought that they would be looking for younger blood, but he's occupied a lane that a lot of the left wants to get into, and that has been his lane for years, and he seems to be driving it. Outside of that, you've got Buttigieg, who is very interesting. Even Trump today said he'd enjoy that. And you've got Biden, who knows what he's going to do. When you look out there right now, is there any other surprises coming that we should be looking at?
The surprises, I think, are that with the way the delegate contests are going, or could go, and the number of candidates running, we could have for the first time in many, many years, I think maybe even since 1960, if I've got it right, or 68, a brokered convention. We may go into the summer of 2020 without a nominee. Now, That hasn't happened in a very long time. But I think the Democratic division, and also what Attorney General Barr said and did this morning, strengthens immeasurably the president's chances of reelection.
What do you think of what happened today? Because the Mueller report's come out. I'm getting through some of it. Quite frankly, Doug, I got to be honest with you. I'm waiting for either the audiobook version or the Netflix version because it's just a lot. Today, being a speed reader, having a law degree, and a minor in journalism, you would be the most popular person on any of the news networks. But what do you think of what you saw, not only today, but just this entire thing that has gone on for the last 2+ years?
Basically nothing. I think opinion is pretty much hardened. I'm sure there are a few sort of sleazy things that President Trump and the Republicans did, but by far the dominant sentiment is no collusion, no one was involved with the Russians, and the Trump team, bottom line, may have tolerated their intervention, but there's no evidence to prove the central assertion that led to the special counsel being appointed. And with his poll numbers going up, I think the president come out of this pretty well.
You know, you say that, and the average person, I mean, you know this, and this again goes back to the AOCs of the world, this, that, and the other you're seeing out there who are getting all the headlines and sucking the oxygen out of the room. But the reality is we got rising cost of healthcare. We do have an immigration issue. I was down at the border the other day. We have an issue that we have a broken system. All of these things that are happening, rising, and we're not dealing with it in a way that should be dealt with. The American people care about that. Nobody goes to bed at night going, Russia. They think, oh my God, my healthcare may rise again. I might have to make real choices. We keep the kids on, but we're going to go off. How do we get that message out to the people? That's what matters, even though I know it's not good theater on television.
Right, and that's my attitude when people have asked me about Barr. I say Democrats should move on and talk about the issues, offer their views, rather than just banging away at Donald Trump, which maybe makes them feel good, but doesn't get them any votes. So I agree.
No, absolutely. And I'm telling you, Doug, it flabbergasts me because there's so many more important things. And I talk to people on a daily basis, and they are, they're frustrated with just the little things, the cost of healthcare, but the cost of gas going up, little things like that eat into the day-to-day life of the average American citizen, that these people in D.C. and they think, no, what happens here in this little zone is the thing that matters most. And it's not. It's political theater. It's sound bites, and it's raising money.
That's exactly right. And I wish my friends at the Democratic Party could internalize what you're saying and act on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Collapse, a world in crisis, and the urgency of American leadership. Does Trump have it in him to be a world leader where people look up to it? I mean, we're so tribal anyways anymore, even in this country. My God, even inside with our own parties, we've become tribal. Like they're all breaking off into their own little cliques. But does Trump have it in him to lead where other leaders are going to look up to him? Or is that something because of how, he can be and at times just, let's be real, it's cartoonish, and at other times it feels like he's doing something right. Does he have it in him where other leaders are going to look up to him?
I don't see it. I don't see the kind of leadership that we have traditionally enjoyed from our presidents, Democrat and Republican. I'm not being partisan. I think that's the problem with the America First approach of Trump, that, he does not inspire the same sense of fear and awe that we have traditionally generated. And, you look at North Korea and you say, well, what's happening? You look at Venezuela and you say, a lot of rhetoric, no real action. You look at Syria and you say the Russians succeeded. We didn't. You look at Iran, I'm glad we abrogated the nuclear deal, but isn't clear to me what our strategy is. So,
is that a lot of what it is, Doug? Is the strategy missing? I mean, Venezuela has been a mess for a long time, and I think his whole thing is let's just let it collapse and let it work on himself. But I look around and I do ask the questions. I'm glad we're leaving Syria, something we shouldn't have been involved in. He didn't get us into there, but let's get the hell out of places where they don't want us. But we do have to watch the Russians, the Chinese, for different reasons. We're still militarily superior. economically we're still superior, but we need to stay there. And I am curious about, that was my big thing with him. Is he going to surround himself with people who on the foreign side of it really get it?
Well, I think the jury is still out. I don't really have a good answer to that question, save our position, as I argue in Collapse, is weakening, and I do not see either party, and I want to be very fair about this, taking the kind of leadership role I would hope an American democracy and an American president would take.
Last question. The book's called Collapse: A World in Crisis and the Urgency of American Leadership. The author, Doug Jones, joining us right now. If you had to lay your money right now on the 733 people, are you running for president? You may be. I don't know. The 733 people on the left side of the aisle that are running.
I'll let you know.
Who would you put your money on at this moment, 500 plus days away?
Yeah, I'd put it on Bernie, Buttigieg, or Kamala Harris. And I guess as I sit here today, probably I'd pick Kamala Harris as the most likely nominee, probably running with somebody like Buttigieg.
Very interesting. Love it. Get the book, people. Collapse: A World in Crisis and the Urgency of American Leadership. Doug Schoen, thanks so much for coming on today. I know you're very busy. I appreciate
my great pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBensonC. People say, you don't have people on the left. We do have people on the left. He's a normal person on the left. He's not crazy. He's not cuckoo. He's not some far-right fringe person. An average person coming on, been in the business for a long time, work with the Clintons, work with Bloomberg, work with a lot of people, has been out there in the trenches, and he gets it. And he talked about something today that needs to be talked about. If you're a Democrat, is you're out there saying AOC isn't our party. Just a few of them got in. The wave came from the moderate Democrats who can reach across the aisle. Not this crazy tribalism. It's just insane. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show. Twitter, Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what?
I have a fascination with pizza. I have no idea how many pizza items I have. I got a bunch of books. I got a bunch of weird paraphernalia from pizzerias, like pizza peels. I have about 700 slices a year, probably upwards of 8,000 in the past 11 years. I've definitely visited thousands of pizzerias in my life so far, and I'm just getting started.
That is a lot of pizza. That guy's obsessed with pizza. So he says he has 700 slices a year. It's almost 2 slices a day of pizza. And I started thinking to myself, you probably have pizza once a week? Say you even average 2 pieces of pizza, right? You're over 100 pieces a year. And for some of you out there, you have a little bit more. Sometimes you have a little bit less, but yeah, that's crazy. I started thinking to myself, like how many burgers do I have a year? How many? Think about it. If you're just bringing, what's your favorite food item? How many pieces of whatever it is? Is it pizza? Is it salad? Is it donuts? I mean, what is it?
I called up Guinness World Records and I said, look, I've got a lot of pizza boxes. And they said, well, okay, if you have 500, it's a record. And I said, well, good, I got 595. Let's do this. I got a Guinness World Record, and that was a few years ago. Now I have 1,471 pizza boxes in my pizza box collection.
That is a lot. My assumption thank God he doesn't learn about video games. Probably single.
Pizza was always a social activity. And to this day, that's what I love about it, is that it's simultaneously communal and independent. Because you can be with a bunch of people eating pizza, but you're eating it your own way. I just want to keep learning more about pizza. I want to do more traveling and understand different cultures and their interaction with pizza. Pizza calls me, and I must answer that call.
I do too. It's a shame. Donuts call me and I answer. Like, who's this? Donut? Hey, what are you doing? Nothing. Waiting for you. All right, I'll come over. Oh, but I do love pizza. I could eat, and I think about this. I was listening to this guy. I'm like, okay, what's the one piece of food that you could eat every day? Like, what if you were to eat food? Like, you get one choice where you can have stuff throughout the day, but every day you're going to have one piece. What is it? And pizza may fall in that category. Because you do so much with pizza, right? You can have with cheese, you can have with anchovies, you can have, and is there a place like Producer Phil, you go to, what is it, the Mellow Mushroom, the Magic Mushroom?
I did not like that place. My favorite place is the Stained Glass Pub.
Oh, yeah, the Stained Glass. Now, could you eat it every day? Could you eat a slice from there every day?
A slice, yes, every day.
Yeah, see? Yeah. I mean, this guy, he has a couple pieces a day. It's not like he eats 25 pieces a day, but you could. I could see that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Have they done something amazing? Yes, no, maybe. Future will tell, but scientists have restored some function in the brain of dead pigs. And this is very interesting. So they haven't regained electrical activity with consciousness or awareness, but they've done some stuff where they revived certain parts of the brain. And now, here's the thing. People, the ethics side of it is the thing that a lot of people are freaking out about, but they're not quite sure because the difference is they didn't kill these animals. They got them from slaughterhouses about 30 to 40 minutes later after they were dead. So you're not worried about, are we harming the animal? But the ramifications for this and where this could go when it comes to really being something could be groundbreaking and disruptive is huge, especially when it comes to things like Alzheimer's, dementia, people who've had strokes, things of that nature. It's very, very interesting. So I saw somebody say, we've now created Frankenswine. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Outdoor, indoor, you got to watch out. What's going on inside your house? That's where Blink comes in. No contracts, no subscriptions. Amazing cameras, motion activated. They can check on your house outside, make sure there's none of those people of nefarious character skulking about trying to break in. You can also monitor what goes on inside of your house, like if your kids are getting up to no good or your pets. Easy to set up, wire-free, couple AA batteries, last you up to 2 years, and you get the Blink smartphone app so you can see what's going on. It's incredible. And right now, save up to a massive 42% on outdoor cameras or up to $200 on multi-camera XT systems through April 20th. Thanks to Blink, home security just got so much easier. Visit blinkprotect.com/sale. blinkprotect.com/sale. blinkprotect.com/sales. At Chad Benson Show's Twitter. ChadBenson. God, pizza sounds good now. I'm hungry. I could do pizza tonight. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to get out of here late, though. I'm going to go eat popcorn and probably have a hot dog at the movie theater. But pizza, if they offered me pizza, yeah, I might do that. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
David and Louise Turpins sobbed as they listened to their children talk about years of abuse, being chained to beds and being malnourished. One of their daughters telling the court,
"Now I'm taking my life back. I'm in college now and living independently."
Through statements read in court, their other children said they too were working to learn how to live their lives, learning to ride bikes, and are now going to school. Then the judge sentenced the Turpin parents to life in prison with a chance of parole in about 22 years.
Yeah, going to jail. Scumbags. Scumbags. And if you don't remember the story, it was heartbreaking that there were all these children who were caged up and in their homes. This family just, it was so insane. And yesterday they released some of the 911 tapes, and it was just so surreal to listen to this little girl. And by little girl, she was 17, but she sounds like she's 8.
My parents are abusing. They abuse us. And my 2 little sisters right now are chained up. There's 13 kids, and then a mother and father.
And how many of your siblings are tied up?
2 of my sisters, 1 of my brothers.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is, but it's still a matter of the fact and 2 of them escaped through a window, if you remember. And then one of them got scared of what might happen, went back. The other one said, nope, I'm doing this. And she was just like very matter of fact about what's going on.
Do you think anybody in the house will need to go to the hospital?
I'm not sure. Sometimes we live in stilts, and sometimes I wake up and I can't breathe because how dirty the house is.
When was the last time you had a bath?
I don't know, almost a year ago.
Yeah, just a bunch of nut jobs. They actually spoke today, which is what do you say? I mean, you're awful, horrible human beings. Throw the keys as far away. First of all, you guys should never see each other again, and throw those keys so far away. There is nothing for you. You offer the world nothing.
I hope my oldest son and 4 daughters currently in college successfully complete the degrees they are working on. And I hope they are successful in their chosen professions. Yeah.
You hope that, do you? You hope that, huh? You guys did a hell of a job, right? Can you imagine that? Think about this. Think about the scars that those kids are going to have for the rest of their lives. Now, out of the 13, there will be 1 or 2 that will plow through life, but the rest of them, you got those many kids, the rest of them, the scars that they have for life, no amount of therapy is probably going to help them get through life the way that you and I and the average people out there who've just maybe had some setbacks. I mean, being chained to a bed for years, not taking a bath for a year, eating very little, being told what to do, how to do, where to do it, to the point where you're so brainwashed that one of them actually went to college and never said a word. Think about that for a second.
I'm sorry for everything I've done to hurt my children. I love my children so much. I'm blessed to be the mother of each one of them.
Yeah. Go away. Go away. Here is the judge.
The only reason that your punishment is less than the maximum time, in my opinion, is because you accepted responsibility at an early stage of the proceedings, and you spared your children from having to relive the humiliation and the harm they endured in that house of horrors.
Yeah, the judge right there. It's very interesting when it comes to. I spoke to a judge about this one time, and in a situation like this, originally the Turpins, they said they were not guilty. Then they pleaded guilty afterwards. And a lot of times what ends up happening is when you put people through the ringer again, especially if the evidence is just so massive against you and you put people through the ringer again, a lot of times the judge continues to look at that as you're continuing to do something to that person, so they may tack on a little something extra. And what he was saying there is you did a good thing by not putting your kids through this again, and because of that, you're going to get this. The kids were there, the older ones, and some of them spoke.
My parents took my whole life from me, but now I'm taking my life back. I'm in college now and living independently. I love hanging out with my friends and life is great. I believe everything happens for a reason. Life may have been bad, but it made me strong.
And I hope they go on and do amazing things, and I'm sure 2020 or Dateline or somebody will have them on sooner rather than later. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. That was a nightmare for them and a horrible situation. For us, our national nightmares continue to go on, and that is, of course, the continuous debate over, yes, the Mueller report. What will happen? What will not happen? Who's going to be where? How can we continue to keep this thing going on and on and on and on? On and on and on and on.
The facts that are now established by this report are damning. Whether they could or should have resulted in the indictment of the president or people around him, they are damning.
Adam Schiff, Dip Schiff as we call him here. So They were damning. Nobody inside of the Trump campaign organization sphere of influence participated with the Russians to overthrow the election. No of them conspired, right? There was no nefariousness when it comes to let's get together with Russia and we'll get the. There was none of that. But when you listen to Schiff, it makes it seem like he's reading something that we're not. Like he had put special glasses on. It's like you can read between the lines and see what it says here. You can. It's not over. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. The battle is just beginning.
I was the first person to publicly call for Adam Schiff's resignation. I'm going to double down on that. Not only should he resign, he should produce the evidence that he said he has. He said, he can't go into big detail, but it'll come out. If he has evidence of collusion that somehow the special counsel couldn't find over 22 months and $35 million of our money, I want Adam Schiff to produce that. He ought to put up or shut up.
Yeah, I agree. If you've got some, let us know. If there's something out there that this guy did not get to. And remember, Adam Schiff said, whatever comes out in this, I'm going to go with it. I'm going to believe it. I'm going to go with it. If he comes out and Mueller's got whatever he's got, I'm going to go with that. And the minute it came out, it was not good enough, right? He's a shill, right? He and Barr's a total shill, right? Handpicked. He's a shill. By the way, if you're in politics and you're at the level of a president or a governor or whatever, you know what you get to do? You get you pick the people you want surrounded by you. If you have a business, right? You own a business. What do you bet you bring in one of your friends or somebody you know to come work by your side, right? You don't just reach in and go, all right, there's a hat. Who is? Oh, it's Jeff Sessions. You pick the person you're going to work with. Do you think Eric Holder and Obama had any kind of relationship whatsoever? Did he pick Eric Holder? Or was it just thrust upon him? But it's not thorough enough, or is it?
No one can question that Robert Mueller was thorough. I think he's going to face some pretty tough questions why he didn't reach a final decision and how he handles those questions before the Congress, assuming he does indeed testify, I think will determine whether the congressional inquiries actually gain momentum.
Let me tell you about politicians. I know plenty of them. Robert Mueller and Barr sitting there are going to eat them alive. For every one you see that really has it together, there's 5 or 10 that are a good smile and great in front of a crowd. But when you get to the nitty gritty of the detail kind of things, you're going to be found out. You're going to be wanting. Do I think Mueller is going to be able to outwit a few of them? I do. Do I think he's trembling because they didn't think he did a thorough investigation? And, oh, my God, Adam Schiff's coming for me? No. I don't think any of those things. But, yeah, bring him up there. Let's talk about it. Barr said, we're going to bring him. Nadler's all, we're going to bring him up here. Okay. I'm just letting you know. Go ahead. I'm just letting you know. And you're going to be coming, too.
We will have Attorney General Barr testify in front of the Judiciary Committee on May 2nd. I anticipate that Mr. Mueller will testify sometime in the next couple of weeks after that, and we will probably hold a series of hearings on other aspects.
Okay, good. What's that doing for the American people? Mr. Nadler, are any of those things having to do with the fact that the system is broken, that you guys are really one party and not two parties? You enjoy the fact that it's essentially, depending on who's in power, one of them is the Globetrotters, the other one is the Washington Generals, but the uniforms, you just change them as you go. I'd just like to know, are you doing anything for the people? You can have all the series of hearings you want, but how about the series of hearings where you start to fix the things that matter to the American people, much of which you guys have broken, so that's why you have to fix it, because the people don't have the power to go in and sort it out with common sense. Are you going to do any of that, or is this all based on Mueller? Dumbass. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Love hearing from you. I'm still laughing about this guy who lost 40-plus pounds. Right, 40-plus pounds only drinking beer for Lent. And when if you just take it at that, right? So just take, all he does is drink beer for Lent. You're like, oh my God, he must have been drunk all the time. He drank 2 to 5 beers a day. He works for a beer supply company. He works for a microbrewery. He's a big director and owner of a big microbrewery. He thought, I'm going to try this. He lost 40 pounds. He says he feels better. He sleeps better. He has no inflammation. And it's funny. And we've been talking about all day is could I keep thinking to myself, I could do a week. Could I do a month? I don't know. Is there money involved? Because, I'm kind of money motivated. Are we all a little bit money motivated? Just a smidge. But could I? It's tough because you know what? You say, oh yeah, I could do that. But how many people know that you shouldn't eat a lot of carbs or any carbs? Could you do a week where you don't eat carbs? It'd be tough, right? You say, oh, I could do it. He did 40 days of just beer and water, and he said he never got drunk. He'd have 1 beer in the afternoon, and he'd have 1 beer or 2 beers a little bit later in the evening, and then that would be it. And he said the thing that's really taught him, besides the fact that he feels so much better, and you start to realize, is it really started to break his thought patterns, and a lot of that's what it is. You retrain your brain when it comes to food. It's retraining that brain portion of their dependency upon food when you think you're hungry, when you're really not actually hungry. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Good Friday. Romans has made everything easier when it comes to a very touchy subject, especially for us men, and that is erectile dysfunction, ED. They've made it so easy now. A lot of times, guys, 70% of us don't go to the doctors, don't get seen for it. We just kind of ignore it. So what ends up happening is you ignore it, and then it continues to go on or not on. But Romans has made everything easy. And a lot of what we don't want to do is go in and sit there in the waiting room, then go talk to a doctor and have to talk to several people along the way. Nope. You go to GetRoman.com/Benson. When you go there, you're actually going to speak with a licensed U.S. physician. You're going to get diagnosed with ED and ship medication right to your door. It's that simple. You fill out a complete dynamic online visit form. You chat with a doctor. You get genuine medicine delivered to your door in discreet, unmarked packaging. It doesn't get any easier. And right now, the visit is free. Free. Go to GetRoman.com/Benson. That's GetRoman.com/Benson. GetRoman.com/Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Serving up talk radio medium rare and dripping with irony. It's Chad Benson.
There will be celebrations here today. There's going to be a ceremony of the cross taking place, which I'm sure will attract huge crowds. Easter celebrations themselves this weekend are being moved to 2 other main churches here. I think all the symbolism of renewal and rebirth this Easter are really going to be powerfully felt here in the French capital.
Yeah, Notre Dame. I was reading an article on the Washington Post, and it's by Talia Lavin. And it just, how the far right spread politically convenient lies about the Notre Dame fire. And it's so, and there was articles in the Rolling Stone and several other places on what they should do to rebuild it, how they should rebuild it as like a symbol of No, it's not, that's not what it's about. Sorry. And she goes off on, you name it. She goes off on Ben Shapiro, the fast-talking right pundit. He called it a monument to Western civilization and Judeo-Christian heritage. Because it is. Well, it shouldn't be that way. It is just so amazing. Just as much as there are lunatics out there and kooks who want to tie things together and tragedies and situations and make it seem like a group has done it, there are also people out there who want to bring everybody into it to show you what evil is being done in a situation like this because of X, Y, and Z, right? So because of people who said, wow, that is a monument to Western civilization. That is a monument to Christianity. That is a monument that people really, really turn to for years. And it's also a tourist attraction, right? It's also that. So let's not forget that. But why is it that? Because of what the symbol was. It's just insane. And people will tie it to, well, because you said that, what you're really doing is stoking the fears for people who believe that Muslims are all bad and blah, 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 blah. It is just so the reach, the 6 degrees of separation. If we work hard enough, we can figure out a way to tie everything together. And it's just crazy. Yeah, it is. It's so funny. Are there kooks out there? Absolutely. But there are kooks on all sides. And I think people need to realize that. There are kooks on all sides. And they're always looking for something because it's clickbait. But there are people out there who genuinely believe a lot of this crap. And that's scary. Wow. What's it like to live in that world? That's what I always wonder. What's it like to live in a world where you're that lost in your wacky ideology? Is there hope to get you back? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Easter, that's a weird tradition. Easter, the day Jesus rose from the dead. What should we do? How about eggs? Well, what does that have to do with Jesus? All right, we'll hide them. I don't follow your logic. Don't worry, there's a bunny.
Ridiculous. Oh, Jim Gaffigan right there. Easter is this weekend. Good Friday today, commemorating the day that Jesus was crucified. Easter, people say, it is weird. Like, why do we have a bunny? The story of the Easter Bunny is thought to have become common in the 19th century. Rabbits usually give birth through big litters. They call them kittens. They're a symbol of new life. Legend has it the Easter Bunny lays decorative and hides eggs, as they're also a symbol of new life. It's part of it. Some of the other weird and wacky Easter facts to enjoy your weekend. While we enjoy the Easter Bunny and all of this stuff, in Norway, it's tradition to read crime novels over Easter weekend. Hey, kids, do you guys want to hear some Agatha Christie? Oh, goodness me. This is just so weird. 500 million Cadbury cream eggs are produced every year. If you piled them on top of each other, taller by 10 times that of Mount Everest, right? Until 2018, it was illegal to sell alcohol on Good Friday in Ireland. In Ireland, the President of the United States celebrates Easter by holding an annual egg roll at the White House. Of course, we know about that. In Germany, it's technically illegal to dance on Good Friday, so none of that there for you. So no dancing, yeah. Yeah. Just little things here as we celebrate Easter this weekend, and we're going to be eating a lot of candy. Candy everywhere. Peeps, man, I don't eat Peeps. I first of all, I don't like marshmallows. I've never liked marshmallows. Secondly, I don't eat Peeps.
I think they're disgusting.
They're right. I mean, am I right? They're gross.
They're really gross.
Like, that's just, yeah, I don't get it. And they've got all this, like, I know they've got different flavors now. When I was a kid growing, let me tell you something, kids. When we were growing up, basically you had one flavor of Dorito, Cheetos. You had a choice between regular chips and barbecue chips. I'm surprised there's not sriracha Peeps. I'm sure that's coming sooner rather than later.
Have you heard of
some of the little things
stale?
No, that's not real. Is that real?
I knew someone when I was growing up. They had to open them up and let them sit for 2 or 3 days and let them get stale before they would eat them.
That is just vile. What is wrong with people? This is why we can't have nice things. That right there is why we can't have nice things. That's just gross. That is gross. Although all of us have that weird thing with food, right? We were talking earlier about the guy who lost 40 pounds on Lent by only drinking beer. But you know what? Have you ever froze a Twinkie, Phil?
No, I never have.
If you have a chance, you ever buy a Twinkie, freeze a Twinkie and take it out when it's cold and bite into it. It is awesome. It's just little things, right? Little weird things. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. By the way, just to let you guys know, we're 593 billion days away from an election, but everybody's out and about doing what they do. And for the Democrats, they've got to figure out where do they want to go? How do they position themselves? Obviously, we know where Bernie is. Elizabeth Warren's trying to muscle into that lane, but she's getting pushed aside, right? They're definitely pushing her aside. Dad, go back to your TP. Chad, you're so mean. How'd you say something like that? Kamala Harris is quiet but cool, doing her thing. Beto's out doing his thing, but you got Pete Buttigieg who's out there and he's everywhere and he's trying to figure out what lane does he occupy and how does he do it? And for the Republicans, how do you keep what you've got and keep what you took in the last election for president? That's Trump's big thing. For Buttigieg, he's got to figure it out.
When you make an approach to Trump voters, how do you speak to them? What message is it that you or any of your colleagues who are trying to get this Democratic nomination approach Trump voters? What's the message you try to give them?
Well, look, there's some voters we're never going to get through to, but there are many others that I think we can. If somebody voted repeatedly Democratic and then voted for this president out of any number of reasons, but basically voted to burn the house down, I want that voter back voting Democrat again.
Yeah, but why though? See, here's the thing. If they voted to burn the house down and you're not offering anything really new, and in fact, you've probably gone further left, because somebody who's uber progressive, no matter how much they want to burn the house down, they wanted to burn down the same old in the Democratic Party, right? That's what they wanted to burn down. They didn't want a Biden. They wanted a Bernie, right? That's what they wanted. They didn't want a Hillary. They wanted a Bernie. So those people you already have, and if they're going to vote, they've already thrown their way a vote on the Green Party, this, that, and the other. You going left, you've already got them. The people that were in the center Democrats, right? You going further left is getting further away from what they are. So how do you get those people back? Because you're going to need those people.
People are more susceptible to those messages of racism and xenophobia if they also feel a certain level of insecurity or uncertainty in their economic and social lives. And so what I think we've got to do is we've got to reach out to those voters, reminding them that we're the ones trying to get you a raise. We're the ones trying to get paid family leave. We're the ones trying to stop the Republican Congress from taking away your health care. And while we do that, and this is the important thing alongside that, we never budge on our bedrock commitment to racial and social justice, because that's where our moral authority as a party comes from in the first place.
Your moral authority for the party. We like to rewrite history, but not the history we used to have in the Democratic Party. No, we like to rewrite other kind of history. Your moral authority. But then you're talking to people who are there's a lot of pro-life Democrats out there, right? There is a lot of pro-life Democrats. And where you're going in your moral authority is the reason that a lot of people like Trump in the beginning, because they were sick and tired of this feeling of elitism. And your moral authority isn't even so much your belief system. It's what side of the coast do you come from? Are you from New York or Los Angeles? And and that's a perfect example of like the disdain and quite frankly, a lot of people, it's that thing we've talked about, the hate, right? Like their moral authority of hate Trump's moral authority of hate. Our hate's better than your hate. I'm not saying Buttigieg's hate, because I think he's a very interesting guy. And I think he's going to be a formidable candidate for the Democrats. And I wouldn't be surprised if out of this, he emerges somewhere. Meaning, if Kamala gets the nod, I could see him on the ticket. Absolutely. He may get the ticket himself. He may be the head of the ticket himself. He's an interesting character. But in saying that, you know, it's that's just, and it's there's a perfect example of the way that he makes it sound is just, hey, everybody, it goes back to, if you voted for Trump, you're a racist, right? If you're a conservative, you're automatically a racist, right? That's what you are. If you vote on the right side of the aisle for lower taxes, if you vote on the right side of the aisle because you want smaller government, if you vote on the right side of the aisle because you want control of your health care, you don't want to give it to the government, you're somewhere along the line, it's just more oppressiveness because you're part of the white patriarchy who's going to destroy everything, and you are nothing but a racist across the board, and everything is about social justice, right? Everything. Case in point, Laura Ingraham, who I'm not a fan of. I'll be honest with you. Doesn't mean I'm sexist, right? Well, yeah, you can dislike her and not be sexist because she's on the right side of the aisle. But last week, she did some stuff with Nipsey Hussle where she kind of chuckled about something and everybody wanted her fired because she's evil and bad. This week, she talked about, Chrissy Teigen, because Time's 100 most influential people is out.
Model and wife of John Legend, Chrissy Teigen, was also chosen as one of the 100 most influential. Now, she's also known for her vicious attacks on President Trump, and she was chosen, according to the profile, because, quote, all her life, Chrissy Teigen has liked to eat. She's not shy about that or anything else, really.
Yeah. And? Now, I had an issue with the 100 most influential people because I thought Christine Blasey Ford shouldn't be there. I'm sorry. I just didn't think she should be there. Somebody like Chrissy Teigen, I could see her influence because it's not just politics. Everything. No, it's not. It's people in business. It's people in sport. It's people who are influential voices in all kinds of subject matter. And Chrissy Teigen happens to be one of those people that's out there and she's everywhere. And she's an influencer in the world of the internet, which a lot of people say, well, that's kind of stupid. Yeah, but you're living in yesteryear. In today's modern world, she is an influencer.
Well, that's nice and innovative, I guess, eating. But did most Americans like her take on female empowerment during last week's Democrat retreat?
I think it's possible to be really angry all the time.
If there was one word you would help, particularly women, use more frequently, what would that one word be?
F*** you.
Oh, okay.
And everybody's like, oh, how dare she? And Chrissy Teigen came out and called her a white nationalist. Because that's the new buzzword, right? That's the new buzz phrase. They don't like you, you're a white nationalist, right? You're a white nationalist. If they don't like you, it's just easy to say you're a white nationalist. And that shuts the conversation down because you don't want to be called a white nationalist, right? They call Ben Shapiro a white nationalist. I'm like, Ben Shapiro, the Jewish guy, yarmulke, white power? Are you sure about that? Yes. Why? Because the conversation, it's an easy way to end a conversation. That's an easy way. It's like climate denier. Easy way to end a conversation. Just end it right there. Because I don't want to have a discussion with you. I'm not interested in that. It's just, it's so funny. The way that all of these things work and the way and how words and the meanings and the power and how you take something and you run with it. Here's a perfect example. Case in point of just being able to take something, twist it, see it, do it. Kate Smith. If you guys don't know who she is, she's famous. She was one of the most famous singers in the last century. I mean, a huge star in the early 20th century. And her God Bless America was played at the Flyers game. It was played at the Yankees game in the 7th inning stretch after 9/11. But they have gotten rid of it over the last coming days because she has all these racist songs, these controversial songs. And they called her a racist. Some of the songs that she performed, when you look at them in black and white, not understanding the era and time and what she was doing, you could say automatically, oh, yeah, she's a racist. That's why darkies were born. Someone had to pick cotton. Someone had to plant the corn. Someone had to slave and be able to sing. That's why darkies were born. This was back in a time with Broadway and the fight, and there was a lot of white nationalism, and she was going after it in a satirical way. It's been out there for, 75 years. So it's not like it's new. But this is part of the retro rage. We can take something and demonize it. Now, and she was so famous in Philadelphia that in between the Wells Fargo Center and wherever the Flyers play and the Sixers play, they had a big statue of it. It's now covered. It's all wrapped in a tarp now. And you just shake your head and you say, really? Yeah, because it's that easy to do. And automatically it goes away. right? You're a white nationalist. You're bad. You did this. Now, I know how you meant it. Still doesn't matter. The words on the paper say something totally different. Evil bad. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Butcher Box. If you haven't tried an incredible high-quality meat in a while, it's time for you to be blown away. That's where Butcher Box comes in. They deliver 100% grass-fed, grass-finished beef, organic free-ranging chicken, heritage pork like you've never tasted, and the best salmon around from Bristol Bay, Alaska. You can design your own box. There's 20 different cuts of meat. And get ready for this, kids. Not only is it affordable, right? It's free shipping. It's less than $6 a meal, and it comes directly to you. For my listeners at this moment in time, this is the ultimate breakfast bundle that they've got for you. A package that is amazing. 2 packs of the best tasting bacon you're ever going to taste. 2 pounds of custom breakfast sausage. Plus $20 off your first box when you sign up at butcherbox.com/Chad. 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 You're going to love it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter and Instagram as well. Like us on Facebook. It is the Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
Here comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity hoppity, Easter's on its way.
Oh, Peter Cottontail. You guys remember Peter Cottontail? Right, Rankin and Bass, they did those stop motion things like, what's his name, Rudolph and all of those things, and Santa Claus. 1971, that came out, right? Based on the 57 novel, The Easter Bunny. So the novel came out in 57. Rankin and Bass said, hey, we got this thing going. It aired April 4th, 1971, and had a couple, had several good runs. I remember as a kid getting excited. Here Comes Peter Cottontail was also recorded by several big artists, including, in 1950, Gene Autry. The song topped out on the U.S. Hot Country Singles at 3 and U.S. Billboard Hot 100. The Hot 100, kids. The Hot 100 at number 5. That's a Hot 100, kids. Up 7 with a bullet. Here comes Peter Cottontail. Gene Autry. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. It's your Twitter. You can tweet at us. The Mueller report, of course, is out. We've touched on it. It's the now what scenario. But first and foremost, I think she's right here.
But it's a great day in America, not just because it's a great day for the president, but it's a good thing when they can say that not just the president, not just his campaign, but no American was involved in colluding with a foreign government. And it's a sad day in America when Democrats and members of the liberal media are sad that it didn't happen. To me, that's the most mind-blowing thing of this, that they would actually want someone from their own country to have worked with a foreign government to take down the president and interfere with the election.
Yeah, I think she's right. Like, we should be celebrating. Yesterday, when I was talking to Martha McSally, Senator McSally, she goes, we should be excited about the fact that no Americans were involved. We should be excited about the fact that we heard for 2 years all of this stuff had happened, only to find out, no, nothing really did happen, and a lot of stuff was blown up, and we should be excited about that. But instead, because of the tribalism, because we're in this world of we need to dominate in so many weird, wacky ways, our party needs to rule, and we need to be the moral authority, and this only way that we lost is because not that the people chose the real right way, but because they were influenced in such a way, and it's because this campaign did it. This is... And you're just like, what? What? No, nobody. We should celebrate. All right, good. Now, what are we doing to stop them from doing it again? What are we doing from stopping them from infiltrating again? What are we doing to make sure it doesn't happen again? Doesn't matter. We're not going to focus on that. We're not. We're going to focus on the singular thing, which is defeating Trump. Defeat him at the ballot box. Steny Hoyer, second in charge, right behind old Nancy, right? The old Prince Charles of politics, waiting for the queen to die, and she never does, so he could be king. He said it's time we move on. I agree. It is absolutely time we move on. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. That there, kids, be your Twitter, and your Instagram. Check out thechadshow.com. Grab yourself your podcast. It's Easter weekend. Good Friday. Happy Easter. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show.